Hello, everyone. It's been a while. Not really because I think I streamed like 2 weeks ago on Friday. But anyway, I think it's been a while for this channel. But for some of you who don't know, I recently, well, somewhat recently, had brain surgery, and this is something I did talk about or mention, after my brain surgery, like something that I talked about. But to be honest, I remember when I was streaming and talking about my surgery that it was honestly a little messy, and I wanted to just make something that was a little clearer, like a video that was a bit clearer to talk about. Another thing is I usually have like a backdrop for like videos like these where it's more of like a blank backdrop, but I don't know what happened to it. I think because when I moved computers and I got a new computer, I didn't transfer everything, but just enjoy my chat, all chat layout here, and I hope the Poliwhirl and the Luca could be entertaining because obviously I don't have a good model. But sorry, I do have gum in my mouth because sometimes when I talk a lot, it gets a little dry pretty quick, and I don't want to pause for like water all the time. I think when I first recorded this, like I was pausing for water all the time. But yeah, I'm just here to talk about my brain surgery, and it's been a while since, so I don't remember everything exactly, but yeah, so I mean it's more of kind of like an explanation of like why I haven't been really streaming. And it honestly kind of started a lot when I started to get this when I went to MRIs, because when I initially found out that I had something in my brain. I got an MRI because, hey, let's just check to see what's happening in your brain. And they just found this thing. And kind of at that point, like I felt like, we didn't really know what it was at the time. Like it could have been a glioma. Like it could have been really bad. This whole entire time it was benign. So it wasn't growing really rapidly. They weren't too concerned about it, but obviously they didn't know what it was. So they were pitching pretty early that we had to do brain surgery because we don't know what it is, especially since you don't really have a family history of it. I know my mom, I think, has brain scarring, but it looked completely different to that. So ever since then, I've been just thinking about like my life, what I need to do, my work, just, think about what I'm doing in my real life. And as much as I really love streaming, I had to stop a little bit because sometimes during the day, like I'll be doing a lot again because I'm thinking about my real life. I think I was going to school at the time. Or actually, when we found out something was happening in my brain, at the same time I enrolled in school. And school was pretty short. It was cosmetology school. So if you don't know, I'm a nail tech VTuber, so that's what I do. I do nails. So even at the time during school, I was going through this, and part of me is like, if this is happening, like I went to school for many different reasons, but it's like, like before my surgery, when we plan to have it, like let's go to school, let's do something. So, I'm not in the middle of doing school and then getting surgery and then having to like skip on it or whatever. You know what I mean? So I was going through school, going through this, and yeah, I was just focusing on school for a bit and doing stuff in my real life, focusing on that. And I got the call to approve the surgery like last year, I think in the middle of the year. So they gave me like 3 months to like prepare for the surgery. Because I got my surgery in beginning of September. And yeah, the entire time I was just like, I just need to do stuff, focus on myself. And honestly, I wasn't really scared when the surgery was gonna, like when I was not diagnosed, but like when I was approved for the surgery, I wasn't really scared. My surgeon was like great. He was confident. One thing he did mention was that, just because you're young and what we're dealing with is like a really small tumor, don't expect that you're going to be the percent that is going to make it, or not make it. That sounds so crazy, but like not have complications. Basically, there's always a 1% chance that something might happen. And then it's just part of his policy that he has to mention, listen, you're not like, something could happen basically. And I always thought that too. Like, yeah, sure, like we can always say like, you're gonna make it, like it's gonna be fine. And I knew I was, but there's always that 1% chance, and I always had that in the back of my mind. I was like, there's always that chance, and I'm not always the exception. So I was pretty chill for the entire time up to getting the surgery, up to the surgery day basically. And nothing really much to talk about there other than that, like I had to wake up pretty early, and like I remember being so tired and hungry because you're not allowed to like drink anything, or I mean I think you could drink something, but you just had to be very like, it's only water, and you have to be like very like very small amounts basically. And I'm like, whatever, I won't risk it. So no food in the morning, no water. And I didn't have my surgery up until 11:30. I think it was supposed to be for 10 or 10:30, but they were falling behind. And at that point I was like, just knock me out. Just knock me out. I'm tired. I'm hungry. Just get me out of here, please. Just go with the surgery. Like, this is how not nervous I am because of the surgery. I remember one specific thing though, because I remember like 2 or 3 weeks ago before the surgery, I watched this random reel that came up on my TO, and they said like, if your nurse or whatever asks you about like smoking, to always emphasize that you're talking about also not only just cigarettes, but like vape and weed, because I think for some reason patients don't like think about that when it comes to smoking. So people who do vape and weed, like they say, yeah, I don't do smoking, I don't smoke, but they just think cigarettes. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to adjust, but so I remember watching that, and once I went to the surgery and they asked like, do you smoke? I said no to the recreational, or how you pronounce it, drugs. And I said no to smoking because I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. And then the code term that they say is we don't judge. So when they say we don't judge, it's okay. That's code for also weed and also vape and other things in that nature. So I remember when they said it's okay, we don't judge, because once you say no to no smoking, like you think they would just like believe you right away. It's like, okay, you don't smoke. But I guess it's so common that people don't count, again, vaping and weed, that they had to emphasize we don't judge, and that's code word. And then I was like, I said directly to them, I was like, no weed, no vape. And they're like, okay, like the face of like relief that they had on their face was like, I'm like, yeah, I know what you guys are talking about. But yeah, I was just laying down there. They basically prepare you in the nightgown, no underwear, no, hair tie, no nothing basically. And they hook you up with the IV to prepare before the surgery. And then was rolling off. Was like ready. It's like, okay, we're ready to take you to the room to get the surgery done. And I think at that point I started to feel nervous for some reason, because you have someone in like, I'm like in a bed, someone's controlling the movement of this bed, and like you can't really do anything. And to be honest, there was a point when I was thinking, I was like, if I can just like pop off this bed while it's moving right now and just like run away. Like that's what I was thinking at some point. But I was like, no, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine. Clearly I'm fine. I'm here. So, but the extra nervous part was when you actually go into the surgery room, and it is like how the movies are. And so for more like context, this is like the first time I ever had like a hospital experience like this. So this is all kind of not normal to me. But like when you get into the actual surgery room, it's all chrome. There's like those big lights they have on the bed. The bed is all chrome. Excuse me. Sorry, the gum that I was chewing, it was like going up my nose or something. Yeah, that's when I feel like I was visibly nervous at that point. Like I was trying to chill, but I was visibly nervous, and I think my surgeon caught on. So he was holding my hand through the entire thing, which was really nice. But the nurses before that was gonna help me, that came into like the other, like the room that I was preparing in, when they came in to talk about it, like they were gonna be the ones that were gonna help me throughout the surgery. And they said, listen, when you get in there, it's probably gonna be like a pit stop crew. Like, we're gonna be hustling and bustling, a lot of talking, a lot of noises, so don't be startled. And he was right. It was kind of like that feeling that was going on. And then they started to put me under, which actually I remember it didn't really take long. When they put you under, you'll start to see double vision. And at that point I'm like, okay, I have to relax, I have to just breathe in, breathe out, let this take over me. And then I started to just close my eyes slowly. And then once I knocked out, I feel like, I swear, max 10 seconds of blackness, and then I woke up. Like, for some people, they do dream. Unfortunately, there's some people who do wake up in the middle of it, which is scary. I've known people in real life that talk about how they wake up in the middle of it, but I woke up panicking. I remember waking up panicking like I'm some, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a movie character, but it feels like a movie trope, right? Where like you wake up panicking. That's what I did. I woke up panicking. I remember people were saying, it's okay, it's like, just calm down. And yeah, so they quickly try to put me onto a bed to roll me into a preparation area room. And I basically had to cough a bunch, because if you don't cough a bunch, you'll get pneumonia. So I had to just cough a lot. They had me in these like compression things for your legs, so like the blood flow was really nice. I had a catheter on, and when you wake up from wearing a catheter, it's gonna hurt. Like, I remember it's like that constant feeling of needing to pee all the time, but you don't. It just hurts a lot. But then once your body relaxes, it'll start to feel better. But after coughing a bunch, because that's what I remember doing in that room. Once another room was ready for me to stay, and that would be the room that I'll be staying in for the next couple of days, they roll me in there. They move me to that bed, and then you can just set up there. Whoever needs to take care of you, they can visit you now. And I was gonna say something. Yeah, I think the entire stay was 4 days. I think the hardest part of me in the hospital was obviously sleeping, because not only are you in pain, but you were, in the beginning, you're hooked up to everything that they could. So like, if you are a side sleeper like me, it was so hard to sleep because I couldn't sleep on my side. They said that you can just be careful with the wiring, but I just couldn't. And then they'll slowly start to take off any wiring that I don't need. As for like walking around and stuff, I think it was like the third or fourth day, they started to bring in a physiotherapist to see like if I'm okay to walk around a bit. And if I'm okay to walk around, that means I'm okay enough to go home and heal. So when I do go home, like, I'm not like in the most pristine condition. I basically just have to go home and do the same thing over and over again of just being in my bed and sitting and doing nothing. And because it's brain surgery, you're not really allowed to be on any sort of electronic devices. And like, it's because it's supposed to be, it's going to be very overstimulating for the brain. And I actually tried to check that once while I was healing. I checked my phone just to see the time, and the blue light really overstimulated my brain, that you can like feel it, especially the area where I got surgery. So basically I was doing nothing, because brain surgery, like, not only are you not allowed to be on your phone, and using a phone like passes the time nicely. Not nicely, but it's like, it's really easy to pass the time with the phone. I didn't feel like reading, because reading was too much of a strain. I have like Gundam and stuff that I can build, but that's too much work. That's like going back and forth with a manual. So basically I was just there, like, staring at the posters on my wall, just staring off, looking around. Like, I was allowed to just walk around too, because it's important that you walk around. Oh yeah, TMI, because you're in the bed all the day and you had surgery, I did not poop for like a week. I didn't poop for a week, and it was so hard. So for anyone who else is also getting brain surgery, pack up on some Solvents, and that's like the thing. It's like that's the pill that you put up your butt, and then that will help you poop. But when I did start to poop, like, it hurt so bad. The thing is, I before the surgery, I regularly go to the bathroom. So when they said if you're a person that regularly goes to the bathroom, you should be fine. But for some reason, I wasn't. So that's like really, really hard. But once it passes, it should be okay. Taking showers was terrible. Like you're just like a zombie in that shower trying to do something, and it was just hard to stand up. There was like a point, so when I was getting better at healing, I was walking around. I was pretty overstimulated where I would wear sunglasses everywhere I'd go. Just being inside the house, you know. But there was a point where I was able to walk around pretty okay. But there was like this weird like fatigue that will still get you. So there was a point where I'm like, you know, I have these packages, these small packages I need to open up. Let me just try that. Let me just open these packages and see if I'm okay to do that. Excuse me. And I was able to do that. Like my body was able to do it, but there was like this overwhelming fatigue that was happening. So like my brain was like couldn't like figure it out. Or like my brain just was like, go to sleep, you need to rest. But my body was okay. I was doing everything. It was like this weird in between. So after more boring resting and just like doing nothing, basically, you know, when you sit there and you're thinking to yourself, like I'm thinking to myself, it's like, you know, once I get better, I'm gonna do so many things. Like I'm just gonna get onto my nail business and just do so much and like da da da. So that's what I was thinking the whole time. And now, so timeline, it's late September. I'm feeling pretty good. Like I'm walking around. I'm trying to do errands like more often. I'm still trying to like rest and sit and stuff like that. But I thought to myself, you like, you know what? Let me go walk to the nail store. That's like a 20-minute walk that I always walk all the time and I have no problems doing. And it was a really sunny day. So let me go do this. And for some reason, and this is before the surgery, for some reason, I always feel faint. Not always, but there's times where I will feel faint when I go into that nail store. So the first time I felt faint in that nail store, I was pretty lucky. I left and I went to the local boba shop because I'm like, I feel faint. I need to like go somewhere and just like pass out. And there was like a boba store like a 2-minute walk away from the nail store. I literally went to the table and I put my head into my arms and I just like fainted, basically. But this time, after the brain surgery, I go up, talk to the nail girl. We're pretty close, so I'm just talking about my surgery. And I started to feel faint. And I was like, this is like my second time fainting ever. So like I honestly don't know what I feel faint. I honestly don't know what to do. Now I know what to do. So my plan was like, you know, I said goodbye to the girl, got my stuff that I needed. Did I say my girl or the girl? Say goodbye to the girl. And my mistake was that I sat down because I thought that was going to help. And then I stood up and that's what happened. When I stood up, 3 steps in, I just fell. And luckily the girl saw me fall and she told me about it because I didn't really know what was happening. When you're fainting, I didn't really know what was happening. I didn't know how I fell. I don't know what happened. And she said, yeah, you flew. It wasn't like you were trying to brace for yourself. It's like you just fell. I ended up injuring my chin. So I thought it was just a scratch on my chin, but it ended up being a gash once I got to the hospital. I was also lucky that like there was police there that was like parked right there and saw me fall. So that helped. So I had to get stitches done. So I was planning to go. So this is late September. So I was planning to go back to work in October. But they're like, you know what? If you fainted, let's do another month off. And actually, I think I do need water. I think my voice is like cracking up. Hold on. Okay, and then after I got the stitches done, by the way, I hit my chin. So like eating things was terrible. Like once I got out of the hospital after I got out of the hospital after like a billion years of like waiting, I got some food out on the way and it was like a delicious burger and I couldn't eat it properly because my chin was hurting. I couldn't eat properly. But that's like outside of the brain surgery a little bit, to be honest. So did some healing a little bit, just like rested more. And then I got this opportunity to work at Fashion Week in Vancouver from my mentor. And I had to take the opportunity. And I told her about how I fainted once the other week or whatever. And, I told her, I was like, hey, I'm feeling really good still. Like, I feel good. It was just for some reason when I go to that nail store, I just feel faint. So it shouldn't be too bad. But she's like, if you feel good, let me know, or else, not like a threat, not like or else, but like, or, I'll just have someone else, but I'm not going to let this opportunity slide. So I did some more resting. I went to Fashion Week, which I think it was close to mid-October that happened. I think. So I did that, did Fashion Week. It was a great opportunity. When I was headed back home, someone was going to pick me up at the train station. Once I got to the train station, I just called them, was like, hey, I'm really hungry. Like, I didn't eat properly there. I'm just going to pick up some food and then we'll be on our way. I went down these stairs that I never go down. I never go down these stairs. I always go down the ramp. I ended up tripping and falling on these concrete stairs and I injured my hand a little bit. It was like bleeding a lot. I didn't hit my head, I don't think. I don't remember hitting my head. But I didn't really think much of it until a couple days, until like my mom saw that I had a messed up hand. And I think we just let the people know. It's like, hey, she like tripped. I think I went to the doctor. And it's like, yeah, I tripped on some stairs. And the thing is, I never trip on the stairs. I always wear chunky boots, but I never trip on stairs. But for some reason I did. I just tripped on them. And so it was another month of resting. And so I officially started working in December. So my gradual return to work is done. And it's the new year. And so now we're here, and I just want to talk about kind of like future plans, especially with streaming and how I feel and what I need to do. So like I mentioned, ever since I've kind of gotten this whole surgery thing happen, I just think a lot about what I need to do in my real life and work really hard and focus on that. And again, I'm not saying that I don't like streaming and I don't want to stream anymore. I do want to keep on streaming. It's just that during that year, I just needed to think about myself and rest a lot. And part of that is because I do stream later nights. And it's not really the healthiest thing to constantly do everything at night. Like, I need to sleep and stuff. I would love to stream more often, but the thing is, right now with like my job and like my real life like career thing, like being a nail tech, I would just love to combine the both of being a nail tech and being a streamer. But just right now with like money and like streaming not being a priority, not being like a huge job for me right away, it's like it's hard to really combine that. I would love to have streaming as like a job one day, so I don't have to work the job that I have right now and actually work at home, so I could stay at home. Part of the reason why I work late nights is because, I have this dog. She's a senior, she's very needy, so someone needs to be at home to take care of her while everyone else is gone to work in the mornings or in the afternoons, and there's someone home that could take care of her, right? Or just someone at home in general to just be there, because pretty much everybody in the house I live in work, and at least I work night shifts so they can go to work and stuff. But if I can work at home, that would be amazing, right? So streaming is like definitely one thing that I would love to be like a reality for me, to like work as a job. But obviously, like, I'm very far away from that, and I want to continue streaming, but my main priority a bit is my real job, and I'm starting to work out a schedule. So I'm trying to figure out the days I actually want to work at my real job, which I didn't really have like a schedule for that because just reasons, but I'm starting to think about like the actual days I want to work at my job. because it is a casual job, so like I get to choose which days I want to work, but now I actually want to think of like actually like thinking about the days I want to work. I don't know. That was like a really long explanation, but in a way, so that way I know once I have a schedule for that, I can do a schedule for streaming and but still be able to work on like my nail tech stuff. And again, I love to combine nail tech stuff with my streaming. It's just like with my setup though, it's just like doing nail tech stuff with streaming is so hard. I think I've done it once, but it was just like a lot of like product that I had to bring from the downstairs area to into my room, which in my room I don't really have a lot of room in general to keep all that stuff. And yeah, a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, new year, new me, I guess. Yeah, I'm filming this in January, early January, so new year, new me. I want to focus a lot, not only on my nail stuff, but I want to keep streaming now that like my whole brain surgery arc is like kind of over. So yeah, I was trying to keep this short, but like I think I'm at like 26 minutes. So yeah, that's it. Hope to see you soon. I think what I'm trying to schedule right now is Mondays and Fridays at 10 p.m. PST for streaming. For sure, I'll try Fridays. I think I did that last time, but be sure to like follow me on Twitter and stuff. I think that's like my main area, but okay. See you later. Yeah, I think I said everything. Okay, goodbye. 26 minutes. Of course I said everything.